Now, actually, I wonder, are those Volk cabinets always in close proximity to the Volk towers? Because now that I think about it, the Volk tower on Glorfia Kleines is pretty close to that picnic bench. And that might be true on Minerva as well. In fact, I can confirm that right now. Let me actually confirm that, because if that's true, that's actually a really good clue to the cabinet location, which I really need for Falitsu Island. I can't find it there. So here... let me just go there. Can you see it from here? Can you see the tower from here? The Volk tower, I mean? It's gotta be around this area, right? It's not directly visible from here. Yeah. I think it's off that direction, hey? Let me get a view from above and I can get a better idea. Mind you, this is a small area just in general, so, you know, maybe even though there's no line of sight to it, to the cabinet, it's just close enough that it doesn't matter. Here I can probably see it. Or not. Hold on. Go upstairs. It's the obvious thing to do. I definitely have seen the Volk Tower here, somewhere. There it is. It is right there. Straight ahead, basically, here. So if I can judge where I am, that's the tower with the numbers in it there. So the panel would be around there. So it's, you know, it's not too far away, but, certainly, you know, doesn't necessarily indicate that, it has to be super close. You know, in both cases, they are close by, but in the case of Minerva Point, that's mostly just because it's such a small area. And it's kind of the same with Scarliti Towers, where it's such a small area that the Volk Tower is always close by. You know, I can only access that one basin, and that's it. That's all I can get at there. And you definitely cannot see the Volk Tower there from the thing, from the panel. There's no line of sight to it. So my best guess, really, is that the Volk cabinet is somewhere near the tower, which, if I recall, is by the Harbour watchtower in this place. So it kind of comes back to that area again. Let me head over there. So the Harbour watchtower, yeah, I have to go over here. I realize, I mean, I guess I can't use the Pelska portal to speed this up, you know, because it would just bring me back to the beginning, you know, of this area, where I'd get anyway by going through the Toledo portal. So, you know, it doesn't speed it up whatsoever to get here. Yeah, the Pelska portal is actually kind of useless. I was excited to get it just because it was hinted at for so long, and I missed it for so long, and it was just sitting right there, it turns out. Okay, so the Volk Tower is here. Does that mean the Volk cabinet is somewhere in this area? Because it does have to communicate with the tower, right? But, I mean, we've seen the screw that's meant to be installed there at Vimir's office. So, it can't possibly be. I mean, we can zoom in on that screw, but we cannot get any more detail out of it, I thought. I didn't see... I thought, you know... I don't remember seeing any, like, buttons there on that thing that would, you know, give me that, like, location and stuff. And the game has kind of hinted that I need to look around the dome, but then again, this is more solid, right? Because the Volk Tower's here, so like this is like a stronger association in my mind. Yeah, this screen is informative because it tells me there's this walkway here. I've been on that walkway once. But yeah, I kind of... It's been a while since I've been in this area, and this area is like the most confusing to me in the entire game. So we can get up on here. There's like a telescope there. Can I get at that? There's another building sticking up over there. Have I been there? Something tells me if I haven't been there so far, I will never be there. Oh, wait. These are binoculars. So these used to be... These are different binoculars to the one at the factory. These used to be... That's why they were talking about the diverter tower powering binoculars. It makes sense now. These used to be the binoculars for that process. But now they're not anymore. Now they're at the old factory. Is that what I'm getting? The ones at the old factory have effectively replaced these in terms of purpose. I do not see anything. You know, I'm trying to keep my eye out for this bulk cabinet, because this is a super dense area, and it feels super easy to miss things here. With so much going on. But I kind of think that it's got to be here. There's not a whole lot of other areas that I've not explored extensively, but admittedly, I wasn't very thorough with this. And oh, I can put a Paida here. I didn't even think. Oh, but wait. What Paida? Hold on. Okay, the color is faded, but we know it's second down from the top and a more or less horizontal line. All right. Well, the only one I have that even would qualify is this one. Because that's the only one that had energy far down enough. Okay. I might have noticed that before, but I certainly did not put a Paida into it. Okay, so we can switch this one of two ways. We can send it over to this thing, or we can send it to this. Let's try this. I did come up here before, once. Presumably this is going to actually do something now? Oh, wait. I made the same mistake as last time, which is, that is just the elevator lever. Yeah, you can walk in here. Oh. So this is the symbol for Fujitsu Island, but we also have a symbol that is for the mines. This is going to do something at the mines? Huh. I mean, this is the diverter tower, right? So maybe this is diverting... Maybe the old factory actually came from the mines? I don't remember. I was under the impression that the old factory came from here, but now that I think about it, maybe it would make more sense. at the mines. Oh, hold on. I've installed a new system into the remaining binoculars on the watchtower opposite. Important data referring to symbols required for the Neyyah. Okay. Put the data in, turn that, yes. Then go to those binoculars. Okay, so maybe I actually want this here, because now the binoculars are going to get powered by this. Leave it on that for a second. Let's walk over to these binoculars and see. Because presumably it needs to be the Falitsu Island binoculars first for me to use these, and then the other binoculars I'll switch them to so that they power the old factory ones, which I guess is probably, you know, the mines in that chart. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is active. Oh, he just hit a note inside the binocular lens. Okay. Mason, I had to find a way to hide the symbols needed to operate the Neyyah and lower the Neyyah plant down into the heater chamber. The diverter console in the tower below will enable you to send power from here to 2 other binoculars at a classified location. The symbols will be stored in these binoculars. Okay, I know the other binoculars he's talking about. He's talking about the old factory ones. So he wants me to divert this to the you know, the mines, right? Which is presumably where the old factory used to be, or is kind of close to. And that is going to power those binoculars, finally, you know, after all this time. Of course, assuming that all the other things required, like the symbols and whatnot, are all set up for them. Let's do this, then. So, step in here. I think what throws me off about this elevator is that this lever looks completely different to the one that raises you up here. Like, I feel like this lever design should be the same one that's on the ground level, so that it's clear, oh yeah, that's the lever that brought me up, so it's also what'll bring me down. I keep clicking on it by accident, thinking it'll do something, but... Okay, we did that. I think that's the only thing to do in here. So I wonder if that means that, because he says that's about the Neyyah. Oh yeah, this is to do this. Because he's, yeah, I just made the mistake again of thinking, oh yeah, that lever, that doesn't lower the elevator because I use a different one. Yeah. Anyway, because that, you know, he's talking about, you know, important information for the Neyyah, and I know I need to know those, you know, sun positions and temperatures and whatnot. Is that what it's going to reveal there? Is there actually no Volk cabinet here? I wonder. So that's, you know, probably what that entire area is for. I just had a thought. Am I supposed to use my knife on that bird just sitting in the cave over there? That's kind of, I don't know, not very nice, if that's what I have to do. But I'm not under the impression that it is, because there was no inventory icon there. So yeah, I can still go down here. This is still an unsolved mystery for me right now. I do not know what's up with this. This, I can zoom in on this, but I cannot, yeah, there's no inventory item, so I can't, like, just cut this off or whatever, right? Yeah. And I'm kind of under the impression that I wouldn't want to move this cart anyway, because this probably goes to the broken tracks, right? I've used all of the other rail carts that go to working tracks, so I think this has to be the one that goes to the broken tracks, and therefore there is not much point in me getting this to move anyway. It would just crash into the ocean, which is why those levers are there like that. It's kind of a similar thing with this boat. I feel like this whole area is kind of just out of commission, and the only reason it's here is because of lore obligations. Because you have to be able to visit the area that doesn't work anymore. Otherwise, where would the broken rail cart, where would the broken tracks go to, right? They would have to go to a cart that doesn't do anything. This I do want on. This is powering the sort of, it's powering the walkway. So I do want that on. Yeah, it's powering this whole contraption. Which I'm going to need at some point. Right? It is powering that. Yes, it is. And then this I think is, again, I think it's just here out of lore obligations. It doesn't even work anymore. Yeah, okay, it's more useful to have this thing. Right, so, you know, you can divert this, I guess, and make it point to this. It's more useful to have it pointed where it currently is. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is just here because it has to be, and not because there's a puzzle here. I could be wrong, but I think it's just an old area that doesn't work anymore, because the story needed one. Pretty sure. Yeah, let's go back in this cave. I've gone to this stupid dome so many times, I'm not even going to bother with this. Is there another thing? Oh, there's another thing to see here. Hold on. Did I ever go here? I don't think I ever went here. Hold on. What is this? This is not interactive? I cannot click on this. Maybe I did go here at one point and turn this on, and it was so long ago I forgot. This is not interactive. It looks like it's pullable, but it's not. If I was here and I did something here, I totally forgot that I did. Maybe that was necessary to turn something on. It does look like it's going to a pipe, and that pipe is connecting back up somewhere. Can I determine where that pipe is? Because it would be nice to remember what that was about. Hold on, what's this? What is this? I can spin that? Oh, does an item go here? This looks, like, it almost looks like I meant to put a crystal here, right? But it's not giving me the inventory icon like I meant to put an inventory item. Yeah, I can just spin that. Am I meant to put an inventory item here? What would I even put here? Spore? I feel like this is a Lavandis crystal furnace. That was the first thing, you know, because of course that's the first thing that pops into my mind, because, you know, of all of the terms that I've read. But, I mean, it looks like a furnace, right? And we've had a furnace described to us as a crystal furnace, and it's the only thing I can think of as a furnace. I'm putting random inventory items in here, and none of it's doing anything. This, I don't think, goes here because it's for the Lodvig Tower. Yeah. Huh, what is that about? So, in this game, right, whenever there's something like this, where I can interact with it, but I can't do anything useful, usually what I have learned up to this point is it's because there is some outside factor that needs to change. So, like, there is, you know, something I need to do in another location that will change how this thing works, right? Usually in this game... Oh, wait, hold on. What's this? Wow, I'm discovering so much new stuff in this area. I really was not thorough with this before. There is so much hidden in this one little pocket of the map. What is this now? Elevator. We can go up or down. Let's go up. I'm thinking I might just end this play session soon because I just, out of the blue, just wandered... Oh, this is the gun tower. I thought the place with the microphone signal listening place was the gun tower, but this is the gun tower. Clearly, because it has guns. Yeah, we can look down the scope of this gun. You know, that's not particularly useful to me, but we can do it. Okay. It's a gun tower. It's cool that it's here. It was mentioned in the story, right? So, you know, it's cool that it exists, but, like... Can I do anything here? I do not... Oh, hold on, I can zoom in. Oh, I can look at this entire area. Okay. That's kind of neat. Anything else? Anything interactive at all? I see nothing excepting, you know, an inventory item here. Okay, I'm thinking this might just be a red herring area. Okay, let's go down. We still have the option of going down here. I'm so glad I came back to this area. What do we have here? Bullets for the guns upstairs. More bullets. Okay. Yeah, we can just kind of look around in here. Alright, it's just bullets. What's ahead? Just even more bullets. Bullets of all kinds. Okay, obvious. We know this puzzle by now. The transportation towers. I'm writing this to let you know I have managed to secure the camera signal codes within the transportation towers on Galorfiak Line and Minerva Point. Okay, those towers are transportation towers, yeah. And to remind you, I know what he's talking about, like immediately. And to remind you, that the camera signals are all activated at the Scarlidi Towers. As you are aware, the transportation towers contain crucial keys to the activation of the Mayorta gas system and Lodvik Tower. Oh, that's why we've been turning those on Neyyah Ghouls. In fact, actually, I think I read a note about these somewhere else as well that reasserted this point. And essentially, activating the secret portal back to Oloje in case you require an alternative means of traveling home without a Jaloot. Also, thank you for returning the old Taluki bullet cases to this room, an understanding an old fool's dream and wanting to restore a sense of peace to this desolated land. It did take a while to collect all the bullets, but alas, I got there in the end. Yeah, okay. I just was quickly checking that my recording is still rolling. Alright, so the transportation towers that we turned on, they're going to be useful for Lodvik Tower. I feel like there's not a chance I would be able to get to the Lodvik Tower without having discovered both of those first. All they require is putting a Peida into a thing. It's a very, extremely easy puzzle. The easiest puzzle this game will ever give you. Okay. It's an alternate view of this place through, you know, this tiny window. I take it that note was the main thing here, which is a little disappointing because I've already done the thing that it explains to do. But I suspect this is probably meant to be discovered much earlier because all I needed to do was turn left and walk through an open doorway, and I just didn't. I just did not do that, and so I didn't discover this area a very long time ago. I only discovered it now. Nothing else in here? Alright, so that note is the main thing of substance in here, I feel. Unfortunately, that does not solve my furnace situation down below. We cannot walk over there, okay. Yeah, no going straight forward here. Yeah, it doesn't solve my furnace situation down below. So that, you know, whatever it is, I was thinking that whatever I did up here was going to affect that, because again, I was kind of beginning to, you know, form a sentence that about that furnace. I'm talking about this thing here. Basically, I was saying, usually in this game, when there's something like this, where there's something interactive, but there's nothing that we can really do with it, that usually means you have to go somewhere else and cause something about it to change, right? Like this will get filled up with like a material or something, like water or whatever, like it, or you get drained or something, right? Usually you have to go to some other place and make something else happen to this, and then it'll become usable for its purpose. That doesn't seem to be the case here, because I went to the most obvious place that I could do that, the gun tower, and I didn't see any control to do something like that. So I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I definitely feel like it is important, but I don't know what to do with it. And in a similar vein, I do not know what to do with this guy, or if I need to do anything at all. Like, is this just, you know, here, you know, for the sake of, here is this animal you haven't seen? Because there's no inventory thing on this when I mouse over it. I'm going to try something really mean. I'm going to try using the knife and see what happens. No, it won't let me. Okay. I don't know then. We can't get over there to whatever that thing is. No idea. Well, we did direct power to those binoculars. Hold on, what was this? Or, oh no, I just turned 180 degrees and walked back through the door. Okay. Yeah. We can turn 90 degrees here, but this is a 180 degree turn. Okay. And this is a 90 degree turn. That just leads to the useless dome area where there's a button missing. Which I'm beginning to think is only there so that we can see there is a button that is missing and has been moved somewhere else. Okay, now we're back here. We can go to the binoculars. They've got to be working now, right? Actually, no. Hold on. Don't I need to activate them at the Bannock's computer system? You know, there's an active point right here. Let's just check that. This is certainly faster than walking over to the mines. Let's just see what the Bannock's computer system says about that, because these binoculars are some of the most heavily guarded things in this entire game, let me tell you. How many things have I had to do just to turn on these stupid binoculars? Also, this is completely random, but I realized I never elaborated in my last video, or maybe it's several videos ago now at this point, because it was, you know, however many parts ago that I'm going to split this up into. But I never elaborated on why I don't like Schism 3. And if I don't say, then somebody in the comments is probably going to ask me to elaborate on that. So I guess I'll explain what it is that I don't like about Schism 3. You know, assuming I even have comments enabled on these videos, because, okay, hold on, binocular activity, menu, activation. They are active. Okay, they're active, okay, so we can go there. Yeah, a lot of my, videos on YouTube, they're marked made for kids, because a few years ago YouTube was really making a big deal out of the fact that channels that are potentially like family friendly need to be marked made for kids. And the thing about my channel is I don't really do anything that is like explicitly adults. You know, I don't, like, for example, I don't play any games really that are like rated anything higher than like T for teen. Which, you know, is not something that I'm like going out of my way to do. Similarly, you know, I don't swear on this channel, and that's not because I'm like intentionally censoring myself on this channel. It's just because all of my friends know, you know, when I'm around them, I do not ever use swear words. I just don't. And so, like, everything on this channel, it's all like stuff that I would be okay with kids watching. So you could make the argument that this is not really an adult channel. And, you know, just out of an abundance of caution, I was like, okay, I should probably mark this all made for kids. And so, the majority of the videos on my channel are marked made for kids, just because there isn't really anything specifically adult about them, so you could make that argument. But, I don't know, for these, I think it would be nice to have some discussions rolling in the comments. And this game, while it probably, you know, is like, I wouldn't say it's bad for kids per se, but I definitely think that this is a, let me put it this way, I don't think that kids would probably complete this, at least not the average kid, you know. Then again, there probably are lots of kids that beat Myst on their own, so I don't know what I'm saying. And possibly even Riven, so who knows? Probably there are kids smart enough to beat this. Kids are smarter than anything. Point being, I might tempt fate with making these videos just, you know, regular, not made for kids videos, and have the comments section accessible. But yeah, my thoughts on Schism 3, the original point that I was going to get to. The game is just... So, I like the original Schism. Admittedly, I did actually kind of get bored of that game at some point as well, and I started resorting to a hint guide for that one. But I did want to at least... I got pretty far in it before I did that, and I did at least want to see where it went, because it was a very nice world. So yeah, I'm not like the hugest, fan of Schism, but I do like those games. So Schism 3, and for the record, I have not played Schism 2, but I assumed it was not really a prerequisite for Schism 3, because I think it's kind of detached from the original game's story, from what I've heard. So Schism 3, mainly what I don't like about it is just that you don't really spend very long in any one location, so it doesn't feel very cohesive. Because you spend 5 minutes in a place and it's kind of like, oh, cool, new place, but then you do one puzzle and it just teleports you somewhere else. And it wasn't like that in the original game. In the original game, there was a cool mechanic where you could like teleport between two different people, which is kind of a unique thing. I can kind of see why games don't really do it, considering why more games don't do that, because they had to invent a kind of insane, in-universe explanation for why when you meet up, you don't see each other. Apparently, you're both just kind of ghosts that cannot see each other, which is just this insane explanation to work around the fact that, the technical limitation that, they couldn't have, like, character models in a pre-rendered environment. So, they just decided, you know what, you're just both ghosts. Yeah, sure. Which is just kind of insane. Oh, okay. Combined successfully. Transfer of combined symbols sent to Platinum System number 2. Is the other binocular just going to say the same thing? Successful transfer of heater service symbol sent to now the Platinum System number 2. Okay, see, these are on at this point, and they aren't serving as regular binoculars anymore. But I get no useful information here. I actually just kind of have to go to the Neyyah system. That's kind of a little bit too bad. Like, I was kind of hoping you would look through the binoculars and it would reveal something interesting. But instead it just kind of tells me that, I just have to go back to Scarlatti Towers. But okay, that's what that tells me. But yeah, anyway, Schism 3, it still has, like, the two persons thing, but they do it... You can't just switch whenever you want. Now they just kind of force, the switch whenever they want. And so it just kind of goes all over the place. Like, it just goes to these different places, but you don't spend a good amount of time in any of them. You just go back and forth between a bunch of places, and, supposedly it's all on planet Argilus, so supposedly it's all, on the same planet, right? But they just all look so different, it doesn't feel cohesive at all. It feels like they just came up with a bunch of, different cool-looking set pieces, and just kind of threw them together, instead of having one connecting world. And that really, it's the opposite of, it's the opposite of, like, this game and also the Riven approach, which is, the puzzles are there to slow you down and make you spend longer in the world, right? The whole point of the puzzles is so that, you can't just, walking simulator your way through them and be done it in 10 minutes just by clicking a bunch going from point A to point B, right? The puzzles are there to force you to slow down and stay in the place, right? But in Schism 3, it's like the complete opposite of that philosophy of just, you know, the puzzles feel like mobile game puzzles, right? It's just a fancy mobile game where you can move around in 3D space, and they just change the background image, right? Every once in a while, right? You solve a new puzzle, change the background image, and that's it. That's all that those, you know, places in the world really ultimately end up being, because they just end up being background images, because you don't spend long enough in any one place to really, like, familiarize yourself with it and feel like you're part of that world. Maybe later in the game it gets different, because like I said, I eventually gave up on it and got bored of it, because I was like, how long is this going to go on where it just warps me to different places? I don't like this. So yeah, I really didn't like that game. And that's my explanation for why. Anyway, I think, actually, I'm realizing I can use the Pelska portal to get where I wanted way quicker, but I think I'm going to call it here anyway for today. This was a fruitful session. I did get a lot of stuff done. It was kind of slow going to start with, but I discovered a few new areas, and I did actually manage to get the Neyyah thing kind of set up. I still don't know when I'm going to use the spores in my inventory. I also don't know when I'm going to use the knife, so those are still kind of mysteries. I don't know when these crystals or walkway lights are going to be useful, so that's still a mystery. This whole area here is honestly still kind of a mystery, and it's really starting to get to me, because this area has been accessible since the very start of the game, right? It's amazing. I still don't get this. This, you know, he has been holding this card up his sleeve the entire game. Like, what is so important about this area that it had to be introduced immediately as soon as I got here? And still, I don't know what to enter in as these stupid Trondy counts. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I think next time I'm going to head back to Scarlini Towers, because that is the obvious next thing to do. The binoculars are you know, somehow connected to point A, which is accessible through the Scarlini Towers. So that's what I'm going to do next time, and I'll see you then. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.